Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timmy. If it's your first time coming across my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back. For today's tutorial, we're going to be making this eye low beautiful top. If this seems like something you're interested in, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. And let's begin with today's tutorial. For today's tutorial, we're going to be drafting out the front pattern first. From the top of my paper, I marked down 0.5 and that line will stand as my shoulder line. I'll then proceed to mark my bust point, which is 10.5. I'll go ahead and mark my waist, which is 16.5. I'll go ahead and repeat the same thing just to get a straight line. I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect the points. I'll then label my points. This is my bust, my waist, and my shoulder line. From the shoulder line, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I marked it there as 8. From that shoulder point, I'll go down by 1 inch, which is going to stand as my shoulder slope. Then on my shoulder line, I'll mark 4 as my neck width. I'll then go ahead and connect the point to join my shoulder slope. So this will be my shoulder slope. Then from my shoulder slope, I'll divide my armhole, which is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, which gave me 7.5. So that is going to stand as my chest line. From this chest line, I'll just go ahead and rule a straight line to form my armhole. And I'll rule out a straight line to form my chest line. I'll then go ahead and label it the chest line. To get the armhole curve, I'm just going to divide what I have there into 2. Then I'll mark the point. From this point, I'll go out by 0.5. And on my chest line, I'm going to divide my bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll mark it on the chest line. I'll then go ahead and use my curve ruler to form my armhole. I'll connect from the shoulder slope down to the 0.5 that I marked and down to my bust on the chest line. Then on my bust line, I'll be dividing my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. My nipple to nipple is 8, so divided by 2 gives me 4. I marked it on my bust and I'll also mark on my waist. I'll use my ruler to connect the points. Then to form my dart legs, I'll be going out by 0.5 on both sides. Then from the top of my bust line, I'm going to go down by 0.5. I'll then connect those points to form my dart legs. I'm also going to be making use of a bust dart. So I'm going to go down from my bust line by 1.5. This is the differences that I have between my back and my front. And then from the first dart that I have, I went out by 0.5 and then I connected the point. So this will be my bust dart. Now I'm going to be taking my full measurement. On my chest line, I took my bust divided by 4. I'll take the same thing on the bust line. I'll go ahead and divide my waist measurement divided by 4, which is 8. Then I'm going to replace the 1 inch that I took for dart on the side, and I'm going to connect with my straight ruler. Now I'm going to be adding my 1 inch sewing allowance all over the parts. I'm just going to label it allowance. So now for the neck width, I have 4. And then for the neck depth, I'm going to go down by 5.5 because I do not want it to be very deep. So for the neckline, I went in by 4. But for the neck depth, I'm going to go in by 3.5. So I'm going to connect from the 4 inch down to 3.5. I'll also go ahead to confirm if I have 3.5 and then I'll connect it with the straight ruler. So this is my neck line for the front part. On the shoulder line, I went in by 4 and on the neck width, I went in by 3.5. And then I'll just go ahead to label my pattern, front pattern. I'm going to be closing my bust dart, so I'm just going to slash open it I'll also go ahead and open up the dot legs on the waist. I'll then go ahead to use my glue to hold it down. After holding it down, I'll just go ahead to redraw my lines because it's no longer straight. I'll just connect the line in a straight form. So this is all we have for the front pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Once I'm done cutting, I'm just going to move on to the back. So I ruled out 0.5 on top, which is going to stand as my shoulder line. I'm then going ahead to mark 1.5, which will stand as my zipper allowance. I'll just go ahead and label it the zipper allowance. Then from the top, I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8. I'll go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. My neck width will still be 4 as it was in the front. I'll connect the points to form my shoulder slope. I'll then go ahead to start marking my measurements, which is my bust 10.5 and my waist measurement, which is 15. The waist measurement from the front and the back differs with 1.5. So that is the differences that I marked. I'll just go ahead to rule out a straight line. I'm also going to impute my armhole, which is 7.5. I'll then go ahead and rule out a straight line. So this line is going to stand as my chest line. I'm just going to rule out a straight line all over. I'll then label chest line, bust, and my waist. The next thing is to impute the dot, which will be my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. I got 4, so I marked it on the chest line, the bust line, and on the waistline. I'll go ahead and connect with a straight ruler. For the dot legs, I'll be working with 0.5 on both sides. I'll just go ahead and mark it, and I'll connect it to my chest line. So this will be my dart for the back pattern. The next thing is to work with the neck. On the top of my pattern paper, I have 4, and I'll be going down by 6 inches for my neck depth. I'm going to go ahead and mark 3.5, and then I'm going to connect the points from the 4 inch to the 3.5. I'll go ahead and connect the straight line on this side as well. So this will be my neck depth for the back. I'm just labeling it the back pattern. I'm now going to go ahead and work with the armhole. I'm going to divide what I have into 2, and I'll go in by 0.5. On my chest line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust measurement divided by 4, and then I'll go ahead to connect my armhole from the top of my shoulder. After imputing the armhole, I marked my bust measurement divided by 4 on my chest line, and on my waistline, I took my waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1 inch dot, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect with a straight ruler. I'll also go ahead to add my allowance. I'm going to add 1 inch on the bust area and 1 inch on the waist area. I'll also connect with my straight ruler, and I'll label these the allowance. Then I'll be working with the zipper area to avoid the bulge. I'll go ahead and rule out a straight line on the waist, and I'll also rule it out on the neckline just to form a straight line. On the waistline, I'll be coming in by 0.5, and I'll go out as well by 0.5. I'll then go ahead and connect to my neckline. So this is just to avoid the zipper bulging. So I just went ahead to bring in my front piece to check if it aligns on the side, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So this is all we have for the back pattern as well. So these are my pattern pieces. We're going to go ahead and cut it on our fabric. For my fabric, I have this 4-way stretch. One side is stretchy, but the other side isn't. So I went ahead to fold my fabric into 2, and then I added 0.5 on all the parts that I'm cutting out. I added 0.5 on the bottom, on the shoulder, on the armhole, and on the neckline. And then I'm also going to go ahead and cut out this dot. And then I'm also going to go ahead to cut another one to stand as the lining. I'll do the same thing for the back, but for the back I didn't have any allowance on the zipper area. So those are my patterns. I'm going to go ahead and work with the bottom part now. The full length of my top is 25. So I'm going to minus my half length from the 25, and whatever I have, I'm going to use it to cut the bottom part. So I had 9, but I went ahead to cut out 10 inches. Then for the side I'm going to be using to gather it, I went ahead to times my waist measurement times 3. I had 96. My waist is 32 times 3 is 96. After getting the 96, I just went ahead to cut out 2, which one will stand as the lining and the other one will stand as the main piece. Now to join my pieces together, I'm going to go ahead and close in the dots for the front piece. Then for the back piece, I'll just go ahead to take note of my dots. I'm just notching the areas so I can make sure I get it right on the fabric. I'll also go ahead to stitch in my dots for the back. I'll do the same thing for the lining as well. So this is the back piece after stitching in the dots. I also went ahead to press it. I also did the same thing for the front piece. I also went ahead to give it a good press. After inserting the dot, it gives you space for your boobs to sit in. Then the next thing now is to join the front pieces together on the neckline. I'll just went ahead to place them right sides facing each other, and then I'll stitch around by ½ inch. I'll do the same thing for the back piece. I'll go ahead and place them right sides facing each other, and I'll stitch by ½ inch. So this is the pieces after stitching. I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the excess area and give it a notch. Then I'll also go ahead to give it a good press and flip it over. So this was my front piece after flipping it over. I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulder parts together. I went ahead and opened up my seams, right sides facing each other. And then I went ahead to pin it down. After pinning it down, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch by ½ inch. I'll repeat the same thing for the other arm as well. I'll go ahead and pin it down. So this was it after pinning. To join the armhole, I'm going to go ahead and open my pieces in this way. And then I'm going to fold it in and pin it down. When pinning down, just make sure your seams align. After pinning it down, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch all around by ½ inch. After stitching, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and notch them. After notching, I'll also make sure that I cut out the excess part to avoid the bulging on the armhole area. Then I'll go ahead and flip it over. I'm just going to go ahead and flip it right side. So this is the armhole. I'll go ahead and repeat the same thing for the other side. I'll go ahead and stitch. After stitching, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and stitch in the sides just to avoid the raw edges because I don't have an overlocker. So I'll go ahead and stitch by ½ inch on both sides. This is what I have. Now I'm going to go ahead and close up the sides using my body measurements. I'm just going to go ahead and pin it down first. After pinning down, I'm just going to go ahead and take my shoulder to bust measurement. After getting it, I'm going to go ahead and mark my full body measurement. My bust is 36 and I had 19.5. So I'll go ahead and divide the excess that I have into 2 and mark it on both sides. After marking on both sides, I'll also do the same for the waist. I'll take my waist measurement divided by 2 and then I'll mark the excess that I have. I'll then go ahead to connect the points and I'll go ahead to my sewing machine and stitch it down. This was it after stitching. The next thing now is to insert the garters on the bottom of the top. I went ahead to fold my fabric into 2 to get the middle part of the top. After getting this middle part, I'm going to go ahead and notch it and I'll set it aside. So for the long piece, I went ahead to join my fabric together to give me the width of 96. I then went ahead to fold my fabric into 4. Then on the folded edge, I went ahead to notch it. Then after notching, I'll just go ahead to open up. After opening it up, I'm just going to go ahead to mark the edges that is going to be shorter on the top. I'll go ahead and pin down. Then to form the shorter part of the fabric, I'm just going to go ahead and mark 5 inch upwards, and then I'm also going to mark 5 inch on this side, and then I'm going to connect with a slant. I'm just going to redraw the line until I get a perfect shape. After getting the shape that I want, I'll just go ahead and cut it out. I also went ahead to cut the same thing on my lining piece as well, and I'm just going to go ahead and separate them into 2. I'll go ahead and join my main piece and my lining piece. I'll join them by 1/2 inch. So this is what I have after joining. I'll also go ahead and open up my seam area, and then I'm going to go ahead and top stitch to the lining piece. Right after top stitching, I'll just go ahead to also stitch in the other part, and this is it after stitching both sides. I'm just going to go ahead and flip it over. After flipping this piece over, I'm going to go ahead and iron. So this is what I have. So this is the shorter part, and we're going to go ahead and use this piece to gather in. So I'm just going to go ahead and gather these pieces. I'm going to go ahead and indicate the middle part of my fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and start pinning it to the main piece. I'm going to join the notched area and the marked area, and I'm going to go ahead and start pleating in my fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and form smaller pleats like this. This is how it looks after pleating in the bottom part. And then I'm just going to go ahead and insert my zipper. I'll bring in my zipper and insert it. This is the top after I had inserted my zipper. And the finishing was so beautiful. I hope you're going to give it a try. If so, do not forget to tag me on your post. And I hope this tutorial was helpful. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll definitely see you in my next video. Bye.